workshop overview kind of video brought to you by Embry-Riddle Counseling Services. So over the summer, we recently got this tool and we're trying to promote the use of it on campus and knowledge about it so that professors and student leaders on campus can make sure students have access to this. So first, we're going to introduce kind of the Morneau-Chappelle LifeWorks My SSP program, then the program itself, and how to increase awareness about it. So LifeWorks. My Student Support Program, or My SSP, is provided by LifeWorks, formerly known as Morneau-Chappelle, the largest counseling provider in the world. They have delivered mental health solutions since 1974 and currently support over 200,000 organizations of all sizes and industries, including public, parapublic, and private sector organizations representing over 37 million individuals. Support individuals are located in 160 countries around the world and over 200 plus languages, as you can see there in the upper right-hand corner. Through My SSP, LifeWorks now acts as a trusted advisor and strategic partner to more than 500 post-secondary institutions, directly through valued partnerships across North America and the UK, supporting well over 1 million students. LifeWorks Student Support Program, or My SSP, was more recently created and is based on stepped care principles aimed at improving accessibility to emotional health support and increasing individuals' help-seeking behavior. This is targeted for those students who are going to take the initiative to improve their own mental health. My SSP uses phone, video, and chat-based technology platforms to help connect those in need to advisors and counselors who understand student life and are available 24/7. Providing a mobile student population with accessible and confidential support anytime and anywhere is important to Morneau-Chappelle. Their approach is focused on innovation and client service excellence, with the overall aim being to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health and help students build resiliency so that they are better able to thrive. Students find My SSP useful because it serves as a dynamic emotional health and well-being tool that can be accessed anywhere. Students can simply download the My SSP app to access a wealth of resources to help support their well-being during their studies. If a student has concerns over using data when in the app or calling or chatting, there are options such as a WhatsApp option, as well as they can access all of these features through the website. The My SSP app and website are great resources for the student that may want to look things up on their own. To start, get some tips and tools from one of the many articles, videos, infographics, and podcasts. It is available 24/7, so students can connect with a clinician with a simple click of a button via phone or chat at any time from anywhere, no appointment needed. This is especially convenient for students located out of state and out of country, as My SSP app, website, and services are available across the globe. My SSP guarantees 24/7 support in core languages such as Mandarin, Cantonese, Spanish, French, and English. Through easy access across multiple modes, My SSP targets students that wouldn't normally seek support via traditional means for various reasons, including the stigma as it relates to reaching out for support, or, now during the pandemic, limited to no accessibility to traditional means. My SSP gives students the opportunity to still receive support even when shutdowns and social distancing are in place. Although we are now coming out of this pandemic, if something were to happen to cause similar circumstances in the future, this application would become very useful for students once again, so they still have that mental health access despite closures and, of course, all of that social distancing and shutdowns. My SSP is designed specifically to widen the net of students reaching out for support and lower the bar to make it easy for students to obtain support for everyday concerns, such as following an argument with a partner or a roommate, stress over an upcoming project or exam, etc. One goal of the My SSP program is to lower that barrier to access so students will receive support no matter what the issue is before they snowball into something bigger. That is the key point here, is My SSP is designed not only as a crisis support program but as a preventative measure for students to make sure they're getting their mental health needs met, and that they're maintaining their own mental health and taking that initiative themselves. The My SSP product and message is also designed to reduce some of the stigma attached to mental health. You'll notice that there is less mental health jargon in the messaging and content, and an encouraging of students reaching out for everyday concerns to help students understand that it doesn't need to be a serious mental health issue before they reach out. Also, the feeling of anonymity, in connecting via chat or phone, although My SSP is confidential, not anonymous, is an attractive option for students. They can be chatting into My SSP in a room with other people, and the others don't have to know. My SSP support is accessible via the My SSP app, where you can phone or chat with a click of a button. You can also access on the phone by dialing the number on materials and chat by visiting the website on materials. Two main buckets of support. One is real-time in the moment. This is via telephone or chat. You can phone in and chat right from the app. You can also chat via the website or by your phone number. It is available 24/7 in the core languages, as I mentioned earlier, which are Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, French, and there are other languages available by request, depending on availability through scheduled support. And you do get a single session with a provider from this immediate 24/7 support. However, you can also do short-term appointments where it is done via video or phone. You can also schedule in-person appointments. We'll get to that in a minute. This allows students to connect with a dedicated clinician who is going to help them throughout the future, should they choose to do so. This also allows for matching over cultural and language needs outside of core languages, background, and working with particular concerns. So basically, this means if you are able to do short-term by appointment appointments, you'll probably get better service for an issue relating to cultural concerns, or if you have a specific background need, it might be more beneficial to encourage students to do the short-term by appointment option. These average about 3 to 5 sessions. So, My SSP assesses each and every interaction with a student, including risk. The next steps or interventions are determined by a combination of clinical appropriateness and the request or comfort level of the student. This is a key to the stepped care approach, meeting students where they are at versus pushing them into something they're not comfortable with and therefore will not likely follow through with. An example of a student who chats in multiple times, single sessions, then eventually seeks ongoing counseling. If someone would have argued that they should have gone into counseling from the start, they might not have decided to do so. They might have been pushed away. There's no limit to the number of sessions nor a specific benchmark to send a certain amount of students to ongoing, nor limit them. Our approach is short-term solution focused and based on the number of sessions, the individual, and the clinical appropriateness in line with this approach. If a student presents with severe depression, something that requires medication, we refer back to university resources or community resources designated by the community. So basically, on our campus, that means they will be sent to our counseling services or to a local counselor who can also help them. This is all done with open communication with the student. The walkthrough student experience includes first talking to a clinical care representative, which is the first point of contact at the bachelor level, often working towards a full counseling degree. They field the calls, confirm service eligibility, initial assessment, and other triage to ensure the student and others are not at immediate risk, and collect the demographic information and assess potential issues and the degree of urgency. From there, they provide recommendations of service, modalities best suited to the individual, etc. Should the client be looking to set up appointments based on ongoing support only or looking for general information, the CCR can support the call from start to finish. If the student is seeking real-time support, they are connected with a clinical care counselor, which are master's level clinicians. Callers or chatters are directed to a CCC if they request real-time consultation support or if they present as an at-risk client at the point of intake. CCCs will then provide support, de-escalate situations, and ensure the client is safe during their conversation. So CCCs do not provide ongoing support, and each time a student calls in, they may be speaking with a different CCC. These are specifically your crisis counselors. These are going to be the people that are just going to get a student through until they can make a long-term appointment. Students seeking a connection with the same counselor over multiple sessions or a match due to cultural, language, or other needs are recommended for scheduled support. This option is discussed with the student, and we will go with what the student is most comfortable with. Our counselors who provide appointment-based support for video and telephone sessions are licensed to practice in the state region where the student resides. So, if you're a student that lives in Arizona part of the year and, say, Michigan another part of the year, you will probably have two counselors for this longer-term support, because your longer-term support counselor in Arizona cannot do counseling in Michigan due to their licensing. When the caller's institution is identified, any specific instructions related to that account will appear on the CCR screen. Reference to any campus-specific resources for referral are also displayed. As mental health professionals, our clinicians assess for safety and concerns with each interaction with students. In the event that there is a concern about harm to themselves or others, we take steps to ensure that the immediate safety of the student, including involving multiple clinicians on the case. One would be staying in direct contact with the student, and the second, looking up emergency resources to deploy as necessary, and a third, clinician manager or supervisor who is able to view, chat, and listen in on the calls. Students that are assessed as imminent risk will have local emergency resources contacted, and your My SSP counselor will stay on the line until those emergency resources arrive. So the clinical care counselor is the CCC. As I said, these are master level clinicians. Callers and chatters are directed to a CCC for real-time support. These people de-escalate situations and ensure the client is safe during their conversation. So, in review, if students are seeking a connection with a counselor, they should be doing that shorter to long-term appointment scheduling to make sure they can meet with someone who's going to fit their needs. This is going to take us to a My SSP app demo. However, that video is already uploaded on the Embry-Riddle Counseling Services YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out there. So this is just entering the next phase of this PowerPoint. So if you're concerned about a student and you're not sure how to talk to them, perhaps you want to tell them about My SSP, but you're not sure how to introduce it into the conversation. You have the option to call for a staff consultation with My SSP. You can simply call into My SSP via the app and or the same number as the students have access to. And then you can request a staff consultation. My SSP counselor will then be able to assist you. So there's that number at the bottom. It is also going to be the same number on all of the cards in the bathrooms, as well as on the counseling services emails that go out. Building awareness on campus. So There are several groups on this campus who can benefit from looking at this workshop and promoting these concepts for this application. Resident and housing life staff would benefit from this greatly. So would security, as well as perhaps some of our student leaders on this campus. Integration of My SSP into protocols might be a beneficial step. We have My SSP flyers around campus that can be passed out at any time, and if you need more, you can always contact the PR Council at PR Council at erau.edu email and ask for flyers. And there are opportunities for guided app registrations where you can sit down with a group of people and show them how to download this app. Basically, word of mouth is key. How many times have you reminded a student about something available to them and they say they've never heard of it before? As someone who's been representing this app since the beginning of the year, I can say I hear this all the time. This is the same with My SSP. Students are inundated with information constantly. It's easy to lose track, especially when they may not read it right away. Constant reminder and reinforcement of the availability of My SSP is key, and not just for students in distress. What makes My SSP successful? Targeting and engaging students who won't normally reach out for support. The program does this through 3 core features. Again, that is that global 24/7 access via technology. We're lowering that barrier to access by encouraging early intervention and multiple modalities to accommodate student needs and comfort levels. Questions. So some common questions I have heard so far is first dealing with data, which we talked about earlier in slides talking about how you can access My SSP. And another question I've heard is, how is this accessible for students worried about pilot's licenses and hoping to get clearances one day? Basically, My SSP is not a mandatory reporter. Upon meeting with My SSP experts and staff, I have learned that no one can ask for information from My SSP without a warrant and it being necessary in a court case, as I have been told. However, if you have questions and concerns about this, I really encourage you to reach out to My SSP. Of course, asking does no harm. So, thank you so much for listening. If you have any feedback, please send that to the PR Council email that I mentioned earlier. Again, that is prcouncil@erau.edu. I will be sure to get back to those questions as soon as possible, or create another set of videos explaining answers to those. Thank you very much for listening.